Righto. This is the Outside Gate with Steve Hall on the L4 Media Network. And for episode 86, we have my sister from another mister. It's
Yeah.
Ali from Real Housewives of Moto. How are you?
I'm so good, friend. I'm so excited for this. This is good. It's a good time.
Yeah, we've talked about doing this for a while. We've been good mates for ages, and now you got your show, and you're all set up for to make this easy. It's always easy to do a show when the guest is also got a show, because all the audio and video and all the tech stuff is very, very easy to sort out. So yeah,
It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
that's the go. Good fun. Good fun. Hey, I thought for a start we better just talk a bit about Millville. Yeah, I guess listeners may or may not know, J-Mart is like my my top three favorite riders ever. And so that was pretty awesome for me. Awesome for everyone. It was extra special for me. I'm a big J-Mart fan. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was like looking around. I was like, do I have tissues? Like, I feel like I've cried like every time I get on Instagram and I just see new pictures. I'm like, oh my God, it's so perfect. Like, it was great. I loved every minute of it. I think like when they cut to Alex in the tower and he was like following him around the track, I was just like, oh, that, especially the second moto. Like
And
I have chills even thinking about it.
Papa John was there. Like, I love Papa John, man, because like
Yeah.
I know about Papa John's GNCC career, like, from
Oh
from
yeah.
like way back. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, and seeing him and Alex and all that, it was yeah, it was just perfect. When it was awesome, yeah, just
Yeah.
loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, have you seen the rumors that are trying to like squash all of our hearts and our hopes right now that Alex or that J Mart had something special on that bike? Like I'm like, I don't want to entertain that. Like
No, I
shut
don't
up.
even
Let us
care. I don't even care.
I don't either. I don't either.
Big bore, I don't care. Like, whatever, man. Get the starts. Do it and make it happen. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't
I'm
even care either.
sure.
I don't
I'm
think anybody
sure.
cares.
Yeah, there's no chance that they're doing anything like that. But even if he did, I still wouldn't care. So,
Yeah, same.
yeah, that was awesome. Oh yeah, I'm a huge, huge believer in the mental side of the sport. I think it's massively underrated, and especially by media. I think it's massively
Mhm.
just not talked about and thought of enough across the media. And
Yeah.
I think when the mindset's right, great things happen. And I think that was the case. It was just like nothing to lose, nothing to prove. Go out there and have fun, ride free. His mind's free. Like, and
Mhm.
then also, the emotion, giving him a bit of extra something, and just all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, I believe in a lot of that. And a lot of that sort of stuff is so important. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
was just amazing. Like, the first year that I was ever able to watch outdoors um, was 2014. So
Good year.
that that was like J Mart just killing it, and he was such a good kid, just such a likable kid,
Mhm.
so humble on the podium and friendly and that cheeky grin and all that. And I just thought this kid is awesome. And then
Yeah.
he was such a badass on the track and such a nice kid on the podium that I love this kid. He's my guy, and so sort of ever since then, he's, and it's been a lot of tough years, mostly tough years, but
Yeah.
I've always still said that he's, when it's all said and done, he was my sort of favorite current rider. He just wasn't there much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. And I hope he finds something that is, that feels that adrenaline,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we know he's a crazy, cyclist and crazy. He's a physical beast, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully he finds, he gets into skydiving, or he's got to find something for the adrenaline, rock
I could see it.
climbing, skydiving, something crazy that gets a bit of that adrenaline going for him. But yeah,
Yeah, not running packages with UPS or whoever he was delivering packages for.
no, I think it was UPS. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was so funny. The funniest thing was the driver just loved him because he was knocking off early, because he was
Yeah.
He was, yeah, because
Oh my
J-Mart was just
gosh.
going flat out, like,
Can you imagine like answering your front door thinking you're getting like, some Christmas present or whatever, and like J-Mart's at your front door like huffing and puffing, like, here you go. I'd be like, gah,
and
like
you're a
I'd
moto
faint.
fan, and it just freak you out.
I'm like, no, come back. I have questions.
Yeah. It's funny, but that's also too why he's so lovable, because he's so quirky like that. Like, what
Yeah.
what other pro guy thinks of like, oh, I might get a UPS job for the summer or something like that? Like,
No, I love
it's
it. And was it 2 years ago that he was in the booth or in the outdoor booth? It was 2 years ago. It was 23.
I think it was 23, yeah, and he was
Yeah, he was
really good.
so funny. He was
Yeah,
so funny.
yeah,
Like one-liners and dry. Like I love dry humor, and I
yeah,
know it didn't land with like all the moto community, but I thought he was hilarious. Like I thought he was great. Like
yeah.
put him back. Put him back in the summer, you know?
Yeah, I reckon it was awesome. And then
That was a good one for sure.
Millville, there's a few other things. Like, I get probably the other biggest talking point. The other one is like, Eli, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Oh, yeah.
what is
Yeah.
what? I don't have answers. Nobody has answers.
I don't either. I want to think the positive,
Yeah,
which is not my nature, I should say. I'm absolutely a pessimist. I usually go to the negative. But with Eli, I'm like, I just think that maybe he's realizing, as we all are, that like this is the moment that you and dad talked about, that like you don't leave until you're beat, and like you're getting beat straight up, and like the dude is a freak. And I think that Eli kind of likes Jet. I think Jet's kind of a goober, and they laugh on the podium, and
yeah,
I think maybe he's nursing an injury or something, like he had a little dab here and there. And so maybe that's just adding to it, that he's like, okay, well, maybe this is my final run. We heard he was
yeah,
shopping the 2-year deal, we know, but I think he's probably come to the realization in live time that like this could be it. And I hope he's okay with that. I hope we have a lot more of him, World Supercross, whatever, but I don't know. It's breaking my heart. Like, I don't like
yeah,
watching it. It's sad. So I don't know. It's a hard one.
yeah. I still have hope that it's gonna be like, he's like cracked a wrist or something, and he's not saying anything.
Yeah.
And then he'll say that at the end of the year, and we'll be like, oh, good. All
Yeah.
right, let's go next year, But
Yeah,
I
really.
don't know. Like, I don't want it to just be the decline of a champion, because that's what
Yeah.
it looks like. I don't want it to be that. I hate that, In
Yeah. It's a
yeah,
hard one because he's so competitive, like I think about
mm,
Dunge. I think about my guy back here on my Wheaties box. And
yeah,
like we all knew when he was done, like I was at Vegas 2017, like he
yeah,
had the back problems the previous summer, like
mm,
we knew he was done. So there wasn't any of this like back and forth, like can he, can't he, that Eli does. Cause I mean, we watched Eli straight drop Jet in the spring. So
yeah,
it's like it's doable, but like over the course of 31 rounds, like
yeah,
I think that ship might have sailed, and that
yeah.
hurts my soul a little bit.
And I think maybe there's a bit of realization that that Jet wasn't 100% coming back to, maybe.
Yeah.
Jet's built through this year to
Yeah.
right now. He's at probably best ever.
Yeah.
Like he's back super healthy, but also like even better than he was before, and
I don't know
just
how it's possible.
full alien. Like, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's a freak of nature for sure.
so that's
Um,
that's sad. Yeah, I think that's probably the two main storylines out of Millville. Yeah, it's like what's going on with Eli and how good was J-Mart.
yeah.
Despite the fact that the Deegs won, but that was just it was
Mhm.
just kind of expected, that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah.
And not too much else that really jumped out. We just kept thinking about those two topics for me, really. Yeah. What about
Yeah.
you? Anything
Yeah.
else?
My one thought that I was curious what you thought, because I know you are also a Joe Show fan. Like
Yeah.
before Joe, whatever happened with Joe's break, like did you think that Joe was going to put the move on J Mart, or did Joe understand the gravity of the situation and he would have like towed the line, been okay with the second? Because I was like, Joe,
Nah,
don't do that.
I think Joe would have passed. Joe would have gone for the move. He would have he would have tried to pass him. Yeah, I think he would have.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because it's
Yeah.
it's different team, and all that sort of stuff. I think and I think probably Hayden probably he didn't
Oh,
give it
absolutely.
his all, and that was cool. But yeah, I think Joe would have he would have
Yeah.
spoiled the party. And
Yeah,
at
I
one
think so too.
stage, when they were both out the front, I was like, these are like my two favorite guys.
I
This is
know. I
because like
know.
I'm a big Joe Show fan, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of since with even though J Mart is that long term favorite, he hasn't been around, So I'm a big
Yeah.
Joe Show fan. So I was like, these are my two favorite guys out the front. How good is this? So stay
No,
there,
I hear
guys.
you.
So yeah,
It
that
was
was
nerve-wracking for sure. Whew.
yeah. That's it. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Probably enough about Millville then. Let's get into a bit about you. So
Sure.
just this year you've fired up the show, Real Housewives of Moto. And it's
I
all
know.
all very exciting and from my perspective as a listener and watching it seems to be going really well. So yeah, just tell us all about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the craziest thing. So I've had the URL, I've had the domain for it for like 6 years. It started as a joke with some of you guys actually with talking with, some of our bat brethren from Main Event Moto. And I said, guys, you can get the best moto tea by following the wives. Like the wives, like they put things in the picture and they don't notice that they're doing it, or they say something to somebody else. And I'm like, I am just a fan. Like I am nobody in the sport, but if you pay attention on social media, you get some good nuggies. So I'm like it's the Real Housewives of Moto. And this is so funny. I've never watched one of the Real Housewives episodes. Like there's like 1,000
Yeah.
series of them in the States. Like I've never watched a single one, but um I just thought it was so funny because there's so much drama in the sport and it's not for everybody. I am not everyone's cup of tea. Like if you just want straight dirt bikes and moto, do not tune into Real Housewives of Moto because that ain't it. Like we ain't it. But um I always told Tim, my husband, like when we would go to the races, we go to Arlington every year at minimum. And I'm like, man, I just want one female moto fan to just like nerd out about all the things that like I nerd out about. Like when I'm thinking about like new babies and sleeping and feeding schedules and, oh my gosh, you're signing a new contract back in California. You've been in
Yeah.
Tallahassee, and finally it was just like, let's just build it. Let's just do it yourself. So I finally, got the the energy. It's been a rough couple years around here. We can talk about that. But finally had the energy and the extra bandwidth to launch it. And the women that I've met through it launched in April. So we're here, 4 months in, have just been like such a gift to me. Like I did not expect to be meeting like girlfriends on the internet who love moto. And like I love it because they get my humor and they get like all of the weird quirks about being a mom and being, in this weird moto world. And yeah, I wish I'd done it sooner. I just, it wasn't the right time, but it's really landed with the right people. And my girls, my romies, they named themselves. Like one of them was like, yeah, we're like your Real Housewives of Moto homies. We're your romies. And I was like, I love that.
Nice, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been really fun. I will say, again, I am nobody in the sport. Like I've made connections just as friends. But people talk. They talk to me, and they probably shouldn't a lot of the times because there's a lot of gossip that I hold quietly in. And I always said like Real Housewives of Moto is not. It's not Moto TMZ, although I've been called that, and that's fine. If you think I'm the TMZ of Moto, that's fine. But I'm not out here to destroy anybody's careers. I'm not out to destroy anybody's marriages. Although I definitely have tea on things that will do both of those. But really, just wanted a community for female Moto fans because I felt like we're not marketed to, and I have been the recipient of some nasty online energy and just guys who don't appreciate women in this space and think that we couldn't possibly know what we're talking about or enjoy it as much as our male counterparts. But screw it, I'm still here, I still love it, and I've got to meet a lot of lovely people like yourself. And yeah, so I love it. I love the moto community. I think it's so special. And yeah, we're just going to be a really, really purple version of it over at Real Housewives of Moto. So that's the skinny.
That's it. Yeah. Now, I reckon it's cool, and I'm certainly, as a friend, I'm proud of you for doing it. I remember,
Thank
I remember
you.
when you were asking me about whether you should do it at one stage. Like,
Yeah.
you were looking for encouragement, but I think it's really cool, and
Thanks.
and yeah, like where you touched on, I've me and all your other buddies, we see some of these dickhead comments and things that people say to you and that sort of thing. It's like,
They're wild.
how fucking lame are some of these guys? Like how insecure and
Mhm.
small are these men that will lash out at you
Yeah.
for having a space in the sport.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad, but thankfully we know that it's a very small but unfortunately loud part of the fans in the sport. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
tends to be a certain demographic of fans.
it does. Yeah,
It tends to be a certain demographic of writers
yeah,
fans. I'll just
yeah.
put it
It
that
does.
way.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I'll say this about the men who've come at me. It's very polarizing. So it's either really, really nasty words and
yeah.
like get out of here, or it's like wildly inappropriate horn dogs in my
Oh my
DMs.
god. Yeah,
And there's nothing in between.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so you get the good, you get the bad, I mean, I told Tim, I was like, I think there's something wrong with me that I like really enjoy the art of the clapback. Like I like the hate. I think I need to tell my therapist that, but I'm like, these people mean nothing to me except that they're entertainment. So, you just kind of let it roll off. But yeah, there's some mean people on the internet. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Always like, I know that. Yeah, I'm sure all ladies on socials get the deviates in the DMs and that, and it just
Yep.
that to me, I just can't believe that either. Like that, just what sort of
Mhm.
what sort of deviant does that? Like, I can't even fathom it. Like
I mean, if
get a
I were
life,
meaner,
guys.
I'd blow them out, but I'm not that mean. And honestly, like a lot of them just seem like sad and lonely, like, and it like honestly, a lot of them like start out really nice, like, oh, it's so cool, you're a girl and you know moto, and then this is where I always know it's turned sideways, is that they've listened enough to know that I'm married and they say, oh, your husband's so lucky. And I'm like, eject button. Like, I'm not, no, 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 no.
Mm,
Don't talk about my husband. We can talk dirt bikes. We can be friends, but like, don't be inappropriate. So if you've been inappropriate in my DMs, just know I'm being nice by not blowing you out.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, and as a husband and a father and that, like I worry about that, yeah, even with my wife and kids and
I
stuff,
know.
like and sisters, everything. Like you just think like just the amount of just creeps
Mm-hmm.
out there. Creeps nowadays. Creeps have a one of the bad things about technology is creeps have just way more access to be creepy. I guess
Yep.
don't they?
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It is sad. It's a sad, sad, dark world on the internet sometimes, but we try to make it a little brighter.
But
I'll clap back at them.
but there's but that yeah, and it's a small percentage. Most I think I always say about the internet and socials and all that. Like it's the whole thing's just a reflection on society. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a small, loud, bad aspect to it, just like there is in the real world. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's good people, nice people with good
Yeah.
intentions and friendly people. That is actually what the bulk is. But we always remember and take on board the nasty stuff more than the friendly stuff. So yeah, it's just a human thing. Hey,
Yep. That's so true.
that's it. Um, I always ask every episode. I always ask, when did the bug bite you? So your story's a little different, but I know that
Yeah.
you've ridden moto. I know you've had a bike in
Mm-hmm.
the past and you have ridden moto
Mm-hmm.
and that. So tell us a bit about that. You grew up in Tallahassee.
I did.
You
Mm-hmm.
were close to being neighbours with the Carmichaels, I believe. So yeah,
That's a
and
weird
just
story.
tell us about how your first bike, all that sort of cool stuff. Where
Yeah.
did you get into this?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of funny. So I was born and raised in Tallahassee, which is so funny to me now that like it is the mecca of rowing on the East Coast of rowing. That's my sport of moto on the East Coast. I was a rower in high school. So I was not a moto kid. Like I knew about Ricky because my dad was friends with his dad, and they shared a hunting lease. And then Ricky bought like right down the street from us. Like I could walk to his house. So if you've seen like the bikes behind the front door, like the big wrought iron gate, he's
Yeah.
got 5. That was the house. I could walk to it. And then my rowing team was the lake, practice on the lake behind his house. So Ricky's dock was our starting line. So like every day after school, I would go and I would row. That was my thing. and our starting line was Ricky's dock. So I knew that Ricky was famous. I mean, everybody in Tallahassee knew that he was famous. I don't think I had any concept of like how big of a deal he was
Yeah.
because it wasn't my world.
Yeah.
Um, and then really like did not even, I mean, followed X Games. My brother's big into the skateboarding and filming world. And so I'd always followed X Games, and we, went to X Games when it was in Austin. We lived there 2014, 15, 16. I can't remember what years those were. But didn't really fall back in love with moto until I started dating my now husband, Tim. And he was on the tail end of his moto racing career, just kind of winding it down, just, age and, life stage and all that. But he was still really racing BMX. But I remember coming back from like a date night one night, and like he was like, "Hey, I want to watch the race." And I was like, "What race?" And he's like, "Oh, it's the Supercross thing." And I was like, "Is that like motocross?" So I knew enough about it to be dangerous.
Yeah.
But I remember watching that night, and I wish I knew what it was. Like, I think I could probably go back and figure it out. Like, it would have been like mid-March. It would have been like 2010, 2011. And so one of the Ryans was winning, probably Villo at that point. And I just remember thinking like, what is this? Because in my mind, what Ricky did was motocross. Like, it was outside, it was dirt, it was,
Yeah.
Haines City. It was, so I did not even know that Supercross existed until 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is crazy. Like, this is like X Games meets moto and, whatever. Like, X Games kind of had like their own like speed and style thing at that point in time, which was so lame, but I digress. And I just remember like being obsessed with it. And like, it was like literally like overnight, like exactly what you said, like the bug. And so Tim was racing, and we'd go to the track, and my dad actually bought me a bike for our wedding gift. It was really cool. It was a little Honda, like big wheel 100. I thought I was so cool on a 100. Like, no, it's this tiny little thing. And her name was Ruby. And yeah, we just like, both of us like fell head first into Supercross. My husband had been to a number of races before me, but like never really like hardcore. He was much more on like the riding side. And I mean, it's all very fitting. I remember Instagram came about 2011, 2012, and all the riders are starting to get, Instagram accounts. And then I'm following all the girlfriends and, all that. And I just fell like on a whole nother level. I fell in love. I mean, Ellie Reed and Lindsay Dungy and Matilda Muscan and Brittany Millsaps, like all of these women whom a lot of are, similar in age to me, that are just laying everything down to like chase dreams with their man and basically put their lives on hold. And I just thought that was so cool. And especially Ellie with the kids. I was like, how are you doing this? So I very much fell in love with it from a what the heck is this sport perspective. Like, I was like, God, this makes no sense, but I like it. And the human aspect of it. And that hasn't changed, 15 years later. So, kind of ironic that I came from Tallahassee and had no idea how big this thing was to now being like, man, if I went home, there's like 45 people I want to interview. So it's come full circle.
That's it. And like with your riding, like what? How did you go with riding? So
Oh gosh.
did you end up doing like getting to do like track days, or were you just like trail riding, or what your sort of what level did you get to?
It's embarrassing. That's why there's no footage of it anywhere, because it's embarrassing. So when I had my bike, we don't have either of us. We don't own a bike right now. It's so sad. I mean, we live in the suburbs, and we just like, we're nowhere near anything rideable. But my husband had like a 450 back then. He had a Yamaha, and then he had a Suzuki. God, that thing was a pig. It was like a 20, maybe a 2009 Suzuki. Like, that thing was huge. And it's so funny now that I know this, because I just remember being like, that bike is unusually large, right? Like, I just remember thinking it's huge. And now that I do know it, I'm like, okay, your instincts were right. That bike was huge. Like, it just took up so much space. But we would go ride, and like Tim, God bless him, I'm sure he's listening somewhere, he would leave me. So I was on my own. So I'm like putzing around in the trails. There's cactus everywhere because it's Texas. Like, I whiskey throttled the shit out of it one time, like up a jump. I mean, like, that's why there's no documentation of it. Like, I am like put her out in a field, put her on a trail, let her putz around, but like going fast or going like strategically in one direction, not my forte. So I don't even try to play that I'm some like baddie on a bike. Like, no, she ain't it.
But did you love it? Did you love it?
Oh
though?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. And it's so funny. Like, when I got my bike, I was 22, 23. And I remember specifically thinking like, oh shit, if I had this when I was like 9, 10, 11, like I would have been just feral. Like I would have been gone. I probably wouldn't have rode. I probably wouldn't have been a rower. But I understand now after talking to so many of you guys, like that feeling that you get the first time you ride a bike of just like complete freedom.
Yeah.
And I get that. I felt that. It's very similar to how I felt when I was rowing competitively, like when you get in that like flow state, and
Yeah.
it's addicting. It does something to your psyche that just
Yeah.
changes you. And so I think like had I had more time, like if I had been introduced to like actually like riding when I was younger, like I think my life would have been totally different. Not for like I would give up everything, but yeah, I definitely can see how you get the bug and it's like, oh, this is it. This is my thing. Cause I feel that way without even riding. I feel that way about the sport. So there's something in the water with dirt bikes. I can't figure it out.
Do you think you'll get a bike and ride again?
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
when I was talking to Michaela, I interviewed Michaela Charlesworth. She's Michaela on the bike on
Yeah.
Instagram. She's such a badass. And so we were talking about the Stark, and so she was like, "Man, this thing is awesome because we can tune it all the way down to like a 65. I'm doing air quotes, and then tune it all the way up to like a 450, and it's dead silent. So like us in the burbs, I'm like, I want a Stark. Like I know it's polarizing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. But for the stage of life that we're in right now, like an electric bike just kind of makes sense. Like I've been,
Yeah.
eyeing one of the the KTM 50s. Like I think they'd be so fun. So yeah, it's definitely in our future for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're in Texas now. So, but you're in the city. You're in the city. Yeah. You're in
Yeah, we're in Dallas.
Perth.
Yeah,
Is that right?
we're in Dallas. So same
Okay.
kind of
Cool.
hub as Fort Worth, but big,
Yeah.
massive.
There's so many people in Texas, man. Like it's incredible.
It's a
The
lot.
population of Texas is similar to the population of Australia.
That's so gnarly. Like
It's insane. I remember
I feel
looking it
that.
up once, and California has more people than Australia, and then we're sort of similar to Texas. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just incredible. Like,
Well, and
I can't
everybody's
even fathom it.
no, everybody's moving here from California too. Shoot. So it's the great migration back east, I guess. But yeah, we sold our house in Austin in Central Texas 4 years ago, and someone paid all cash from California, like no questions asked. I was like, okay, this is great.
So
So
Dallas is that West Texas?
Dallas is like, so how do people do this? People make a state of Texas. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I doing this right? I'm not a native. It's like up here. So it's
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's north
Northwest.
and west. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
get all the terrible weather. Like we get everything. We get floods, we get tornadoes, we get hail. That's our problem right now is hail is like, we can't get in the garage because we just moved 9 months ago. And so we've got 2 vehicles sitting in the driveway, just like praying we're dodging the grapefruit size hail in the spring. So we're on the tail end of that season for Texas. But yeah, Texas is no joke. Like next month, like we'll have 30 days of triple digit heat. I can't do the conversion to Celsius, but
Yeah.
it'll be hot as balls next month, basically.
Yeah. 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 Crazy. Yeah. We get that sort of heat, but not as Victoria is very inconsistent. So we'll get
Yeah.
that we could have days where we are like one of the hottest places on the planet for that year,
Yeah.
crazy, but we don't get like months on end of it. It'll come and
Yeah.
go. You might
Yeah.
get the worst of summers, you might get 2 weeks of that, but then you'll get a bit of reprieve and then it'll come back and that sort of thing. We don't just get this constant just bang like
Yeah.
every day, every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's why they
crazy.
took Freestone off the circuit. I mean, like there was riders like literally like fainting and like dying, not dying, but feeling like it from heat stroke. And so Freestone was in Waco, which is about like 2 hours south of me, into like Central Texas. But I mean, so when we had X Games in Austin, I mean, it was so bad that they broke the contract early. It was supposed to be a 4-year contract. They only made it 3 and then moved it to Minnesota. Like, so sports in Texas, like we went to the playoff last year in Fort Worth, which was it round 2 or was it round 1? Did we do Charlotte, then Fort Worth, then Vegas? Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. It wasn't Vegas, basically.
Yeah.
And it was so miserable. We went and saw our buddy RH22, and I was just like, this is dangerous. Like the teams looked miserable. Nobody was out. I mean, everybody was hiding in their motorhomes, rightfully so. But it was stupid hot. Like I was like, I don't know if we just got this whatever. I think they do IndyCar there, the stadium.
Yeah.
I'm sure they got it for like super cheap, but I was like, we're never doing this again. Like Texas is never getting any moto stuff from like May to November. So we're just off the docket. So we got to travel, I guess.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, it was way too hot. That's for sure. Yeah.
It was
So
brutal.
we run motocross in the winter. So and I I, I don't know how that started, but I'm pretty sure I'm be very confident to say that it started because in summertime there's just not enough water to water tracks.
Yeah.
I'd say that's why that started way back in the 70s. But yeah, we run it through the winter. Otherwise, like if we tried to run summer, like they'd run out of water to water tracks. Australia's a very dry place. So, um, and then obviously we have a very short Supercross season. It kind of runs, in our spring, I guess. So your fall, and then we sort of have a gap after that. But yeah, so that's different there. We don't have to, tackle the heat too much here. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Some of the, what was the one where the famous one where Fro was in black gear? Was that a Texas race?
Oh,
Where was that?
gosh. I don't think that was Freestone. Maybe was it? So that
No,
was before my time, but I remember seeing it.
yeah. I can't remember. Yeah, but some of the crazy
Yeah.
heat, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and just the gear, like the gear that they used to run in the South. Like, I'm like, it's basically like you're plastic wrapping yourself and then strapping yourself to like a boiling hot rocket and then going and racing. I mean, it's like Paula
Yeah.
this year. I mean, golly, it's dangerous. That kind of stuff scares me because like you can really mess up your brain with heat stroke. Like, so you're not even
Mm.
messing with just your body at that point. You're messing with like cooking your noggin, and that's precious territory. So
Yeah.
that stuff scares me.
True, yeah. I'm always one of these guys that's like, you'll be right, tough it out and that sort of thing. But but I understand the other side of the argument about that duty of care for people running
Yeah.
the race and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I remember when they cut the Moto 2 short at Parla and
Yeah.
Wardy put up a post and he's like, I can't remember what he said, but he's like,
Yeah.
getting it, yelling at clouds, being the old bloke and that, and
Mhm.
he can back it up, like he was there, he did it. And
Mhm.
I was sort of like, yeah, Wardy, that's it, be tough.
Get him.
But then I get both sides of the argument, but I'm always one of the guys that's always going to sort of lean on just, I suppose, the way I was brought up, just it's like our last round of the Aussies. There was lightning strikes in the area and around the final moto, and that was a bit of a thing. Like, should have these
Yeah.
guys been racing and all that? And my take on that was sort of like, she'd be right. The chances are so small. Like, just get on with it. Get out there. Don't be scared of that, and that sort of thing. That's just the way I'm kind of the way I'm wired. Like
Mhm.
if I'd ever told my dad that it was too hot to do something or too 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 much lightning to do something, he just would have given me this look. It would be just like, what
Mhm.
the fuck are you talking about? Get on with it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Lightning's that. I mean, we don't mess around with lightning, but yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, the hardcore of the core, it's like it's 30 plus 2, like get on with it. So it's gnarly. It's a gnarly sport. It's not.
That
I couldn't do it. I don't even try to pretend. Like I'm like, you want to come at me sideways, you win. Like I could not do it. I couldn't do it in my prime. I couldn't do it. So yeah, hats off to our guys.
Yeah, I
Whew.
mean that's what I was saying. I said I'm not trying to be tough, saying that I'm not scared of lightning, but because I'm scared of everything these pro riders are doing out there on the track. Like, I ain't doing
Yeah.
that. They're way tougher than me. So if they're out there hitting those jumps like that, but they're scared of lightning, they're still way tougher than me. Like, so I'm
Yeah.
not being tough, but it's just it's I always look at I think I look at the percentage of lightning, like the chances of getting struck is so small. But I don't know. I think when it comes to storms and stuff, it's different in the States. It's
Yeah.
wilder over there. Your
Yeah.
storms and stuff you get like crazy. It gets a lot wilder. Like we tornadoes and storms and all this sort of stuff. We cop it bad with floods and bushfires.
Yeah.
And some of the coastal areas up north, cyclones, but tornadoes and just crazy storms and electrical storms and all that. The US is like way crazier than
We're
we
just
are.
so
So
lucky.
so maybe lightning is very different over there. I don't know. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about like I was looking at Millville this weekend and thinking like how badass like Mount Martin is and like how tall it is.
yeah,
Like you got to think like it's 450 feet of elevation change. Like you put,
yeah,
40 dudes on a track with 450 feet of elevation in those trees, like you're playing with fire, no pun intended at that point. So yeah, I don't know. I think also becoming a mom, I'm more like risk averse. Like I think I was much cooler before I became a mom, but I'm like, I'm not gonna mess around with lightning.
yeah. Fair enough. Cool. We might move on. Might move on. I wanted to just talk a bit about your day job. So
Yeah,
you're a marketing guru, and
I am.
I marketing something that I find very interesting, and it is an integral part of everything in life,
Mhm.
and a very influential part of how the world works. So yeah, I'm interested in that. So I guess just tell us a bit about your day job.
Yeah, sure. So I work for a fairly large legal software company, and a lot of what we do is content marketing. So it's podcasts, it's blogs, it's vlogs, it's radio ads, it's Spotify ads, it's white papers and webinars, and a lot of like really boring stuff. Like I'm not in the market for legal software, but what I love about it is that I get to work with creatives every day. I get to work with graphic designers and content strategists and writers, and so what my job is really like helping them do their job better. So I'm kind of we call it creative operations, but I'm really a process guru. So I'm like, how can I take what you're doing? Take a designer. How do I take all of the stuff that you don't like to do, the paperwork, the pressing the digital buttons, getting files where they need to go, and I streamline that along with all the other roles across our team. So what I really love is, and as I'm sure I know you feel similarly, is I get to just talk to people all the time and ask them like what sucks about your job, and then I get to fix it. So in a way, it feels very selfish to be like, oh, I get to fix other people's problems for a living, but that's kind of how I feel. And getting to be around creatives, all day and be in the kind of the muck and mire of the creative process. Like I just love it. And I always say like, I'm not a graphic designer, like at all. Like I have a very keen eye for graphic design, but like actually doing the work for it is not my skill set. I think that's like, I mean, people are like artists. But I
Mm.
get to be creative by osmosis. So like I get to be around the creatives and absorb it, kind of by just being around them. And I kind of fell into it by accident after college. I have a degree in photojournalism, believe it or not. So all those people out there with big cameras, like that was me, all through college. And I think I just got so burnt out on it. Like we had to do a photo thesis my senior year, and I shot like 30,000 images, and I had to
Mm.
submit 12. Like, I mean, it was so like I printed them out and I had them all over the floor, and I did some in the dark room. Like I've got well, it's on that wall, but some of my 35 millimeter, and yeah, I was like, this is exhausting, and I'd gone for a couple internships actually with your team, the Denver Broncos. I was in the last round of interviews for a position at the Denver Broncos my senior year of college. And this young guy got it. And I was so jaded. And I was like so convinced it was because I was a woman and, whatever. And this kid like didn't know shit about football, and it just made me so mad. And but I was like, I just need to take a break from my camera, and worked at a couple of startups in the creative, space, and really found this niche of like helping creative people be creative better by taking the less creative stuff off their plate, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, when people say I'm in creative marketing, like, oh, are you a designer? Are you whatever? And I'm like, no, but close. So yeah, it's a cool job.
Yeah.
I like it.
Is there a particular like marketing thing that you're like most proud of, where it's like I helped that sort of thing that you see often, or is there anything like that where that you're even allowed to
Oh,
say? I
let's
guess
see.
like
Yeah. I can tell this funny story because I'm not there. So Dell computers, like, dude, you're
yeah,
getting a Dell? Like, okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I worked at Dell, gosh, like 10 years ago. And when I was at Dell, they retired their typeface, their font. They changed it to another font, a very similar font. And And so like literally for like 2 years, I'm just like reviewing fonts and reviewing creative. And I'm like, that's the wrong font. That's the right one, blah, blah, blah. And so I have this old font that I was so scared of seeing in the wild, because if someone used it, we could be sued. Like Dell didn't own the font anymore.
Yeah.
And Wells Fargo, which is a big bank in the States, bought the font and like went hard with that font. And so I bank with Wells Fargo. So I'd go to the ATM, and I'd see that font, and it like brought up this like Freudian response in me that I just was like panicking at the ATM because of this stupid font on the screen, but it's just, like when you work in something like that nuance where you're like, I'm literally comparing like the letter D to this letter D, that you just can't shake it out of your brain. So that's one of those things that like, this was 10 years ago and I still see that font when I go to Wells Fargo and I'm like it makes my breath catch.
Do you like, I'm sure I already know the answer, but this is sort of leading into the conversation. You would notice marketing things just in day-to-day life all the time. Yeah. You just constantly notice it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny. I was having this conversation with Katie. I don't think we did it on air. Katie is my co-host on Real Housewives of Moto, but I was so proud of Jace with Gypsy in dropping the 100 hours of Cole Davies, which I think I've watched it like 6 times now. Like I'm obsessed. Like you Aussies and Kiwis are just like taking over American Moto, and I'm totally fine with it. Like I'm here for Cole. I'm here for Cade Manier. I'm obviously here for the Lawrence brothers. So anyhow, that was for free. When he dropped that on the off week, I was like, this is brilliant, because we don't have moto. We're all like dying because we're dramatic and we don't know how to go 7 days without a dirt bike race. But to have that on the off week, I was like, God, Jace gets it. So I don't know if it's Jace or if it's team or what, but that was brilliant. Same thing with Rockstar and like their mini series. And like, I was thinking about this with their series this year. A lot of it was focusing on Malcolm, and I'm like, what happens to this series if Malcolm doesn't get Tampa? But that's another story. But yeah, I think that Moto is really lagging behind in organized marketing campaigns. I don't think it's our strategy. I don't think it's really our shtick. But yeah, I absolutely can't turn my 9-to-5 brain off when it comes to Moto. So I see it, constantly. So, but the Jace one, I gotta, you gotta give respect where respect's due. That was just brilliant timing. It's all anybody was talking about that whole off week. I mean, like, I feel like I've literally watched it probably every 3rd day since it came out, because I'm like, this is so good. Cole came back, was on the bike last week. I was like, I need to go watch it again. So yeah, kudos to Jace for sure on that one. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I knew you'd be like that, because like I've said it before, I've done so many different jobs, and whatever job I'm doing, and then it'll linger for ages. I just notice things that are just crazy, and I have habits that are crazy. Like I still have retail manager habits. Like I'll walk into a big box store and I'll be critiquing it like a manager. Like it's like, and that's 10 years, over 10 years since I was a big box store manager, and I'll be looking in, I'll be going, this store's not bad. Why aren't they doing this? What's wrong with that? And all this sort of stuff. Like I'm a boss walking through there, and then and I'll even still like because one of my many jobs I ran a night field team. Was one of my early management roles. I think it was my first management role. Was running a night field team. Running the team, stacking the shelves at night. And I will still look at how shelves are getting filled. And if I take a product from a shelf, I will automatically pull the one behind it forward to face the shelf up. Still now,
and face it the right way.
Years since I've done that, it's like I'll grab one and I'll be like, pull the other one's forward so it looks right, and just crazy things like that. And even back to another one that I can always remember. So I'm a mechanic. That's sort of fairly little known, I think. And I did a lot of car mechanic, 4 wheels. I tried to get into dirt bikes, but that's another story. And I did lots of specialty mechanic things. And one of the things that I did for quite a while, I was a front end mechanic. So doing wheel alignments and working on and all that sort of stuff, And I was really good at it. And I used to be able to stare at a car's tires and I'd be able to figure out in my mind how I would adjust that to get them tires wearing right. And I'd find myself doing that in traffic. I'd be looking at the car next door and I'd be looking at the treadwear, and I'd be like, yeah, that needs such and such and such. And I'll be going through the adjustments in my brain. And it
Yeah.
took me years to stop doing that in traffic, you know.
Yeah.
Nowadays I fix houses and, you know, I'll be in a, I could be in a pub for a social thing and I'll be looking at how something was built, whether it was done good or whether it was done right or, you know, all these sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
I get
it's
that.
crazy. One thing I wanted to ask about, I'm fascinated with, and it's really funny. Well, they made successful TV series out of it. Office dynamics. You work in an office, in a big office, and I've worked in an office, you know, for several years myself, and and obviously they made it. Yeah, like I said, they made the show The Office out of how office
Yeah.
dynamics go. Like
It's
it's
exactly the
so
same.
weird. It's so weird and so funny. And if
Yeah.
you haven't experienced it, you know, you wouldn't understand. But that show is pretty accurate. Hey,
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's so funny. Like, so my husband Tim is a motorhome tech. So he works on like high end tour buses and like Prevos, and actually worked on Tomac's trailer in
yeah, yeah,
January, and then it came back like after his injury, and so he had a deadline. I'm gonna get to my point. I promise. This is the ADHD speaking. But then he had a deadline to get Tomac's his RV back out, and I was like, does this mean he's returning? Like, does that mean he's gonna be back? And I'm doing the math in my head to be like, what's the next race? And I'm like, okay, chill, Allie. Um, but he thinks that way too. So I'm like, all right, this is good. But he came to pick me up for lunch or something. I can't remember what it was. And so I like brought him up to my floor, and it's all open seating. So we have this new building. It's all, super fancy concrete. Everybody sits out in the middle or whatever. So they have to pump white noise. So they have like that white noise machine that's like they
yeah,
pump it into the whole floor, because otherwise it's just all people talking all day, and keyboards clacking and mouth noises. And
yeah,
Tim walks in and he was like, oh hell no, I'd be fired so fast.
yeah,
So it's not for everybody, that's for sure. And we only have to go in 2 days a week. I'm lucky in that, like, it's a hybrid environment, which is how I get to do the podcast. I record basically on my lunch breaks at home. And
mm,
um but it does teach you a lot about like interpersonal dynamics and working with people maybe that you don't see eye to eye on for everything. So um I've had worse jobs than my current one. I actually really love this job. I have an incredible boss. I have an incredible team, and I'm really grateful. Like, they ask me about the podcast and they ask me about dirt bike stuff, and none of them have any idea about any of this. But yeah, it's a good environment, but it's absolutely like exactly like the show. Like, there's always a Kevin, there's always a Jim. I would like
what?
to think I'm Jim, but
Yeah. What sort of in the fun of in the office, like in the fun of it, like what sort of part do you play? There's always different roles in that. Like I was the fun creator in the office,
yeah,
like I was the smart ass, the one that was,
yeah,
I would be constantly stirring up shit for my amusement. That was kind of the role that I took, and everybody knew it, but they would still fall for my shit every day, even though they knew that that's what I did. So,
yeah,
but I didn't like the office. I there was too confined. Like, I hated it, but that was the one.
yeah.
My survival was having fun at other people's expense, but. They, but then they still liked it because it was still fun. It's hard to
Yeah,
explain, but yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah. But do you like? Are you a shit stirrer within the office or?
Oh, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have been accused of being a shit stirrer a few times in my life. um, it's funny because I had someone actually like, not at my current job, at my old job, ask if I was pulling a gym, and I didn't know what that was, because like literally on a call, like, so we're having a Zoom call like this, and I
Yeah,
just like turned and I was like, "What is happening?" She's like, "Are you breaking the fourth wall? Like what they do in the office where they look
yeah,
right into the camera?" And I
yeah,
was like, "No, it's like exactly what I'm doing." So yeah, I'm lucky in that, like I said, I work with a lot of different teams, and I'm working with a lot of like senior leadership all the way down to like, just the cogs in the system. And so I like to think that, like, if you find people who can match your energy with shit stirring or sarcasm or whatever, like, I love that. So I'm like, when you could get in the weeds and like, you know, throw stuff back at me, that's when I feel safe. Like, I'm
mm,
like, okay, cool. So I think a lot of our, like, some of the younger employees that I've had are like terrified of it. They're like, did you hear what Allie said to so and so? And I'm like, yeah, I could say that because I know them and I respect them and I love them. And um, you know, I think that in corporate America, like, it's so it's so buttoned up most of the time that it's just like, God, life's too short. Like
Mm.
I view work as like a means to an end. Like, and there are people that I work with where like their job is their everything, but I'm like, no, this is paying my bills so I can get out of here. Like, so I can go do what I really want to do. And, you just got to make the most of it while you're there because it's a long day sometimes.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's funny. I was always intrigued, and it's still the same. There's a lot of people that work in that sort of environment, and it becomes their whole world. Like all their friends are
Yeah.
their whole social, their whole they're probably going to marry someone from the office. Their whole
Whew.
social life is people from the office, and it's all this integrated. Whereas for me, like I had a couple of good mates in the office, but once I left, like it was like no
Yeah.
thanks. I don't even want to. I don't even. Don't call me. Like, and of course they would. But yeah, it was just it was my job. But it's funny how many people is like it becomes just their whole life. Yeah,
Yeah. Their
that always
identity.
crazy, and the amount of people in the business I worked in who'd met their partner out of the in that business. It was
Yeah.
just incredible. Like, yeah,
Yeah. Tim and I would have never met then.
yeah. And I was like, don't you want to talk about what do you just talk about the same stuff because you had the same day at the same office? Like, don't you want to
Hmm.
talk about something else? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's
Yeah.
funny.
I actually worked at a startup when I first got into moto, and it's funny why this is burned in my brain. So I worked for a husband and wife, and Matil Muscan like commented back to me, like I complimented her or something. I complimented her pants, and she replied back to me. And I remember like, oh, we're recording on my phone. I'm like, where's my phone? It's right there. Duh. And I grabbed my phone and I like shoved it in my boss's face. I was like, I know you don't care who this is, but Marvin Muscan's wife just responded to me on Instagram. I just remember them being like, cool. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
these are not my people. Like, they're not going to care that Matil Muscan just commented back to me. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely think like, having your people and having different areas
Mm.
is, and having lots of hobbies, so like life's
Yeah.
too short.
I remember, management. There was always like management coffee catch ups,
Yeah.
and that's when it'd be all like, "Oh, what'd you do on the weekend?" And every weekend was something to do with moto.
Yeah.
But nobody there even like had like a street bike. Like they like less than zero knowledge
Yeah.
about motorcycles at all. So I'd start talking, saying a little bit of stuff, but a lot of the time I just wouldn't even tell them what I did on the weekend because it was just too hard. Because
Yeah.
you just get this blank look. Like I might as well have told them that I flew to Mars,
Yeah.
on the weekend, and I wouldn't get any weirder look, like that
Yeah.
sort of thing. And then also too, like they would see me limping into work on Monday or groaning with broken ribs as I'm trying to do
Oh my
stuff. And
gosh.
I remember upstairs, our offices were always upstairs,
Hmm.
and walking upstairs with, when I've like rolled an ankle or got a big, big Charlie horse or
Hmm.
something like that. Or so, and I'd have my few like close friends that knew what I did every weekend, and they'd be like, "What did you do?" So
How
you
bad
have
was it?
you have a couple, but yeah, yeah, it's a funny thing. Funny thing.
Yep.
You obviously navigate it a lot better than I ever did. Yeah, that's for sure. I love working on my own, fixing houses nowadays. Righto, it's time for an ad read. Guts Racing, gutsracing.com. That's a real easy website to remember. You guys know that Guts makes seat covers. They also make complete seats, seat bases, seat foam, including the ultralight seat foam, custom seats with wide wings, with bumps, 2 tall seat options, Velcro fitment covers, the optional ballistic material, covers for ATVs, covers for Cirons, and an incredible range of colours. If you can think it, they will have it. As used by Ken Roxon, Jed Beaton, Malcolm Stewart, Luke Clout, Kai de Wolf, and our guy Scott Meshy, who says they are a butt gripper and they will make you a ripper. and get yours at gutsracing.com. That's a real easy website to remember. gutsracing.com. A bit of a funny thing that we always say. So obviously, me and Ali became mates along with a bunch of others from being main event moto fans. And we always say that we're all a bunch of weirdos, and that's how we got to be such good mates, because we're all pretty weird, you know.
We are.
And
We very much
a
are.
bunch of weirdos, and being a bit weird is something that I actually treasure it, you know. And I'm different, and my family's the same, and something I've always said to my kids when they were little, and I always say, if anybody ever tells you that you're weird, then that is a compliment, because it means you're not boring. So
Exactly.
And I drum that into my kids, and and then also too, I know we've spoken before about neurodivergence, which is like a big sort of word that gets thrown around nowadays, but it's certainly something that you know all about, and I do. I've got a wife and a daughter that are mega ADHD, and I've got a son that's autistic. So I know, and I'm sure that if I got tested for some of these things, that there'd be bells and whistles going off for sure. And something that we laugh about and that sort of thing. But tell us a bit about your life and your aspect on all of that.
Yeah. We call ourselves, we have a neurospicy household. So that's what we like to call it, neurospicy. So my husband is dyslexic, like God bless him. The way his brain works, like he's so mechanically inclined. You guys are very similar in that respect. Like the way he can take something apart and put it back together with no instructions just like blows my mind. So we don't have the same brand of neurospiciness between my husband and I, but the pot that we made to make our children, like we were just guaranteed to have some little weirdos, which we absolutely do.
Yeah.
My son, he cracks me up. So I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 30. I'm 35 now, so it was 5 years ago. I was diagnosed with OCD when I was much younger, so obsessive compulsive disorder. I mean, like I was counting everything. I was counting the number of chews on each side of my mouth, the number of footsteps I was taking, and my kiddo, my oldest, is about to turn 8, has a condition called auditory processing disorder, which is also, a neurological disorder, which basically it's just kind of the difference between when you hear something and when your brain really registers it.
Yep.
And so, we're navigating that. And then my 5-year-old, my redhead, like I just think that she's just a redhead and she's just feral. So we haven't quite figured out if there's anything like clinically wrong with her other than she's just trying to kill us. But I feel very passionately about speaking to your brain's strengths. And I think honestly, like I think moto just like scratched that itch for me. Like it was like this hyperfixation that just exploded into like my entire identity. But I mean, similarly, like I crochet, like I'm a grandma. I was called a grandma by little Deegs this week. And I was like, how did you know? Like, I'm such a grandma. I crochet. And, so I just like finding things that work for you. Crochet is really centering because it uses both sides of your brain because you're counting and also trying to keep a pattern. And I don't think I really realized like how much I struggled like in grade school and in college and just like, basically white knuckling it, definitely in college. I was a college athlete for the first 2 years when I was rowing, and I look back on it and I think like, man, if I knew then what I knew now about how my brain works, like how much more like knowledge I could have absorbed, or what I could have done differently. But yeah, I'm with you. Like I don't take weird as like a negative. Like I think the world is too boring as it is. And so like be the salt of the earth. Like be weird, have the crazy opinion, like belly laugh all the time. Like when I edit our podcast, like I literally I know what my laugh looks like on an audio track because I just laugh all the time. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Mental health has been a thoroughfare of my life. We've had some ups and downs there, but I think really like leaning into things that nourish your brain and working alongside, maybe how your brain works it's not a bad thing at all. I think, people are like, oh, neurodivergence, like we just have to cater to you. And I'm like, nah, not really. Like we've figured it out our whole lives. Like we've been okay. But finding things like moto or like podcasting or whatever that just like speak to your soul and that naturally come easy to you. Like I don't take that lightly. Like I'm so grateful for, to have a creative outlet in this, in, my own little podcast world and you guys and all that. So yeah, I wear the weird badge proudly. I have no shame.
Yeah, I do. I wear it very proudly. Like I love it. Without going deep, I've spoken about it in different ways and on different platforms and different times about. I kind of this is kind of Steve 2.0 that's here right now. I had life struggles and come out of that with a lot of learnings and a lot of a second chance at life. And one of the, I guess not one of the key point out of all of that I learnt is about being really, really true to yourself. And so every weird quirk, weird thing I do and all that sort of thing, I am super proud of it. And it's right there for everyone to see. There's no hiding anything. But it's interesting, like you say. I remember when we did the autism. Checklist is not the right term. Survey. I can't fit the right term. When we did the paperwork for my boy, it was so funny because we're going through and so many of the questions, me and Susie are looking at each other and it's like going, that's me as well. And it's also my dad. It's also Aussie Mick. And it was like, yeah, there's a theme here. And it's like, and me and my dad wouldn't have ticked anywhere near as many boxes as my son, but still, it's like, there's something there. And then, my dad's dyslexic, and when he was a kid, he was just labelled as a dumb kid, back in when he was going to school in the the 50s, So it's good that we have the edge. I'm still kind of weird about, and it's just my old school upbringing. I'm still kind of weird about labels and words and abbreviations and all that sort of thing. And I still get a little bit weird about that. But I'm just an old school, old bugger, I guess, with that sort of thing. But the thing is, we need to know, like my son didn't get diagnosed till he was 19. And what I learned after that, so much made sense of why he was like he was, and so many things that would frustrate me, and that I was like, I just wish I'd known earlier, And I know I get how his brain actually it really does work a little different to other people, and it's just so much easier to communicate with him and that sort of thing now, because I know that that autistic brain, there's some, every person with autism is different. They're all different, but there's some things that are a common theme that of how they work. And I really get it now, And then with my daughter, I just thought my daughter was just a crazy head like my wife. And then
I mean, she's an ally, so she is.
Yeah, she really struggled with she struggled massively, like half the kids in this state, with the lockdowns over COVID. COVID in this state and in Australia, and particularly in this state, created a teenage mental health epidemic that was actually a real epidemic. But that's a whole nother subject that we're going down there. So she started going to see a psychiatrist, a counsellor. And he picked up, like, I think you might be ADHD. So she got diagnosed, and then then we started learning about it, and it was like, oh my God, this is like exactly my wife as well. So there's even things about my wife that I now understand, things that frustrated me for 20 years, that I didn't understand, that now, they still frustrate me because she's crazy, but I get why she does it, So the education certainly helps, It's a very interesting thing, and and it's funny, we have it's funny, a lot of, I think, you gravitate towards other widows gravitate towards other widows, like
Yeah.
because like
100%.
my some of my best mates they have all the same things, they've got they're neurodivergent, they've got
Mhm.
like two of my best mates also have a kid with autism, and it's just like
It's everywhere, man. We're taking over.
it's crazy, and all three kids totally very, very different to each other. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's encouraging. Like, I mean, I'm encouraged seeing parents like who, are older than me that understand like this is a big deal. And like we're reteaching ourselves how to think about our own brains while we're raising these kids. Like, the
Mm,
most unhealthy version of myself, not to go too far into my mental health journey, was at the same time the most unhealthy my son was too, and his own mental health. And just like
mm,
realizing that, like, I was pouring from an empty vessel and he needed his mama and he'd so much more help, which now we've gotten him. But um trying to reparent yourself while you're parenting is like the most exhausting thing ever, but it's like
mm,
the highest calling that I believe we have as parents. And
mm.
I mean, shoot, yeah, 2023 was a hell of a year. I was what's Is that when Anaheim was 2023 Anaheim when you came over? What year
Uh,
was that?
that was 24.
Was it 24? Okay.
I
Cuz I
think.
know that the date is wrong
Yeah, it
on the
was
shirt.
24. It
Don't
was
tell Joe.
24. Yeah, shirt says
Okay.
23, but it was 24. It was January
That's what it
24.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 2023 was a brutal year. You guys know this, but like my kiddos and I were in a really bad car accident.
Mm,
We were T-boned. My daughter was 2 and my son was 5 at the time, and so they're both in like their little car seats, and cars just obliterated. My arm's broken in like 3 places, and I like went off the deep end. Like I could not handle it. My son was struggling, like, as before we had any of his diagnoses. And
mm,
I mean, even just trying to work with a broken arm is comical. Like, on a computer where I'm like, my arm is completely like bound up and I'm like one key at a time. And I just realized that I was like, I'm so out of my league and my brain is like not a safe space, that I ended up taking off 4 months, and I was part of an outpatient treatment program here in Dallas.
mm,
Basically, I was in 4 to 5 hours of therapy a day, every day for 4 months. And
mm,
it's crazy because coming out of it, I don't feel like I this is terrible. I don't feel like I learned anything new, but like I gave my brain the space to like heal and come
mm,
down out of like fight or flight mode long enough to be like, okay, we're gonna be okay. And like I said, I've had Real Housewives of Moto, the URL, for 5 years, and I just remember like I graduated from my program in August, and so there's very little moto and there's no college football. And just being like, okay, I got to take care of me. I got to take care of me. I got to get myself right. And then I got to get my kids right. And it's just crazy to see like the ripple effect of taking care of yourself and
mm.
how you can actually like pour out into other people, into my
Yeah.
kids, into community. And man, I'm just so grateful for like living in a day and age where like you can do that. Praise God for insurance. Like that was the
Mm,
only way we financially were able to swing it. But um yeah, it's part of my story, and I think about just like how dark the days were before that car accident for myself and my son, and where we are now. Like we're just not even the same person. So um I'm grateful. I'm beyond grateful to be here and to like have my joy back, my laughter. And but yeah, moto was a big part of that, because I remember graduating and being like, "Oh, okay, we're at the tail end of the outdoors. Like things are pretty much done. Like when is A1? Like countdown." So,
mm.
yeah, it's wild. It was a wild couple years for sure.
So you're a bit of an Ali 2.0 then as well. Yeah,
I'm very much so. Yeah. Yeah, I don't
yeah,
even feel
yeah.
like the same. So, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sometimes, not sometimes. People have to. You have to get to really change within yourself. You've got to get to a really low point. You got to sort of.
Mhm.
You got to sort of bottom out. You got to hit the bottom
Yeah.
before you start to come back up. That's
Mhm.
something that
Yeah.
I strongly believe in it. And yeah, well, and there's enough science to tell us that that's exactly how it works. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I fully believe that if you don't slow down, like whether you believe in God or the universe or fate or whatever, like I joke that like I never would have slowed down. I never would have taken my foot off the
Yeah,
gas. So like I got hit with a car to slow down. So
Yeah. Oh,
like,
I believe in that stuff for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's wild.
Like I remember I was I went through a period of several months of just like not sleeping, um super heightened fight or flight,
Mhm.
and just being pretty much um I describe it as being delirious. It was like I
Mhm.
was extremely drunk all the time,
Mm.
in my head, but I was a fucking amazing actor at acting like
Mm.
everything was fine,
Mhm.
like fucking
Yep.
amazing. And people would pick up on that I wasn't quite right because I would miss deadlines and fuck things up that normally I was really good at. So
Yeah.
there was things that were starting to appear, but extremely good actor. And I went through all of that, and then but I was so strong willed that I wouldn't let myself stop. And then
Mhm.
eventually I got pretty suddenly, physically really ill. I got
Yeah.
this like massive like I got like a lung infection that was kind of like pneumonia, but they said it wasn't pneumonia. And I just
Yeah.
got really, really sick and had to go to the hospital and got put on like steroids for my lungs and all this sort of stuff. And that just sort of came out of nowhere. And I remember my doctor at the time, she was a great doctor, and she said, sometimes when you won't stop yourself, your body just steps in and stops you. You
It's
know?
so true. It's
And
so true.
that put me in bed because I'm not a guy that really gets sick much, or even when I am sick, I'll just still go to work. But it like wrote me off. It put me in bed for like a week, and it was just literally like, just we got to stop this guy to save him,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and it let me just let go of a bit of stress and that sort of thing. And that was kind of the beginning of me, starting to crawl out of rock bottom. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's I definitely believe in things like that come at you and start to make you start to get a little bit better. So yeah,
Mhm.
I
Yep.
certainly believe in your car accident being a similar thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
whether
for
it's
sure.
fate, fate or God or the universe or whatever you believe in. Yeah, I certainly believe in that. Yeah, I believe things happen for a reason. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. We could do a whole episode easily on mental health stuff. Or I could do
Yep.
like a whole new podcast on mental health stuff. Like on that, it's my second mental health awareness is my second great love. Like
Same.
I could
Same.
easily talk about it forever, and
Mhm.
I have talked about it all day with people many times. Uh,
Mhm. I love it. I love it. I don't feel like it's talked about enough in moto, and we don't have to go down the rabbit hole,
yeah,
but
yeah, no,
I've got a couple like interviews like for, women that I'm, trying to get on the pod, and one of them actually said they were like, do I have to have like a mental health like journey to be on the pod, cuz like I talked to Brady Bowers about her postpartum and stuff like that. And I'm like, "No, but like everybody struggles. So like if you've been in a place that didn't make sense and your brain wasn't a safe space or whatnot, like I like how many of these writers have how many of these writers need mental coaches? I'm looking at
mm,
you, Chase Sexton.
yes,
Um
yeah,
that was for free. But yeah, I just don't feel like it's talked about enough in moto. And like especially in a sport where you have to convince yourself like I'm not gonna die today. Like you're convincing your brain that every time you swing your leg over a bike.
mm,
Like, why the hell are we not talking about it more? So
yeah.
soapbox.
I believe I believe the sport is massively lacking in that, and it's so and maybe just like I don't have any bits of paper that say that I'm knowledgeable, but I've made myself knowledgeable about the subject
Mhm.
through my own learnings and initially to help myself because I'm a person who has to fix everything myself, including when I decided to fix myself. Um,
Yep.
and so I'm pretty bloody knowledgeable on the subject, and there's things that happen with riders, and Chase is a perfect example where if he had a flashing neon sign on his head that said, I'm struggling, it wouldn't be any more obvious than it already is to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, just unbelievably obvious. You know, it's like if it's I can't really believe that. And most of the media, a lot of really intelligent people in the media, um, but I guess it just comes back to if you haven't really been deeply affected by mental health or had a loved one that's been deeply affected by it, you probably just don't have place enough weight in it
Mm-hmm.
As people who have, you don't know what you don't know. And even like
Yeah.
Jason Anderson, he's even
I was
said it.
just thinking it. I was just thinking about Jason Anderson.
Super obvious
Yeah.
when Kenny was having his struggles, and there was a lot of physical stuff, but you could see that was a mental toll on him.
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of in a lot of ways, apart from Dean Wilson and Joey Savacci, who've actually come out and said it, but they've
Yeah.
said they've had anxiety problems and that. For it's kind of taboo. They've still got
Yeah.
this. It's taboo. It's weak and all that sort of thing to talk about it, which is it's so wrong. It's actually one of the toughest thing I've ever done in my life was talk about it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm not the world's toughest guy, but I'm no pussy either. And I've done a lot of
Yep.
tough things. The toughest thing I've ever done is talk about my mental health. So the first
Yeah.
time I did it. But it's crazy in the sport, how it's really behind the times. Even even compared to stick and ball sports, moto's
Yeah.
behind the
Oh
times
yeah.
with that. Stick and ball sports is very, very good with that nowadays.
Yeah.
They'll just literally, like they'll just come out and say that there's been, they've had, and I know Dallas fans, they're a bit up and down about what they think of Dak, but when Dak come out and said that he'd had mental health problems, I thought that was fucking great. Like the
Mm-hmm.
Dallas Cowboys quarterback said it. I thought that is
Yeah.
so good. That is so good.
Yeah.
And then that became a hot topic, but
Yeah.
yeah, it.
I think we all have to be a little bit mental to be Dallas Cowboys fans, but that's aside. That's here nor there. Gotta be. I guess you gotta be a little sadistic to be a Cowboys fan these days. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I agree with you. And it's funny. I was listening to some of Jace's old episodes, like just thinking about like listening to the writers of some of the wives that I want to have on and doing my homework. And and not to like say that like, women can save the world, but it's so funny to think about the way that that men viewed their career or viewed, moto or fatherhood or husband life or whatever. And then they meet a good girl, and like the way the woman forces them to like reevaluate. Like I was listening to Barsha, and he's talking about meeting his wife Amber. And I mean, I don't know that we remember how bad Barsha was. Like the year he showed up to Monster Cup on like the privateer Honda, he
Yeah.
fell over on the gate. Do we not remember
Yeah.
this? Like, homie fell over on a privateer bike, meets Amber, and then we get a whole new Bam Bam.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying, like Amber single-handedly, revived Justin. Yeah, I am saying that in this metaphor. I think she did. Thank you, Amber. But I think there's something about becoming a husband, becoming a dad, letting a woman in, being a little more soft, that makes you think about things differently. And,
Mm.
To look at Chase, like I've talked to some of the girls that Chase has dated. He's opinionated. We'll put it that way. I don't think he's exactly the easiest person to get along with. I think KTM would say that. I think Honda would say that. I think Jade Dungy would say that. Anywho, I digress. But I think that women bring a lot more to the table than just like childbearing, dare I say. And I think that we're seeing that now in moto. I think that's why we're getting these guys later into their careers. They're getting married, they're having kids, they've got a stable home life,
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm here for this next era of dad life riding. Like if it gives us 5 more years on Eli Tomac, like I'm so here for it. So let's do it. Have more babies, get married,
And that's it.
repopulate the moto earth.
I think that's underplayed sometimes too, like where some of these guys, they've been like at a race and then they've been flying home because there's a baby on the way and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that takes a toll on
Yeah, like
the dude.
Ricky.
Like that takes a toll on the dude.
Yeah.
Dudes they're emotionally freaking out. Like it's the girl's doing all the work, but the guy, it freaks you out. You go through every single emotion
Yeah.
possible,
Yeah.
and that's and these guys, like their body is their tool. That's everything, and they're going through this emotional freak out, and then going
Yeah.
back to racing, and then
Yeah.
also the trying to be a good dad and do your bit with the baby, as well as get your sleep because you're a pro athlete and all that sort of thing. Like, I'm
It's
sure
incredible.
I'm sure that was some of Jason's struggles with a brand new baby and all that sort of thing as
Hmm.
well. Like, yeah, it's and as you well know, you're a birth guru amongst many of your skills. That, like, sometimes babies arrive and they're just awesome, and there's just like no problems and all that sort of thing, and it's just all pretty crazy and easy. And then sometimes they're a nightmare, you know.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
an absolute nightmare, and there's no parents getting any sleep.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they do it. I mean, honestly, like I posted this months ago, and actually Amber Barsha and Riley Faulkner, Austin Faulkner's wife, both
mm,
responded because they both had their sons around the same time. And I was like, how do you do this? Like, how do you first, like,
mm,
how do you go to the races? And so, the Barshas have a motorhome, and so they're like, we can turn on the white noise, whatever. And I think Austin and Riley were staying in hotels, and they were like, we just got to black it out. We got to do all the things. But it's like, it's adding a whole nother layer to a career that it has to be about dad. It has to be
yeah,
about dad being selfish, and dad
yeah,
dad can't go 2 hours and then strap himself to a dirt rocket and think that it's going to be okay.
yeah.
So I'm in awe of the dads right now. Like, it took my respect of moto to like a whole new level, cuz I'm just like, that is gnarly. Like, that is so crazy, really.
It is, isn't it? It is. You always look at any professional athlete, and they've just got to dedicate their whole life to their body, and
Yeah.
what they can do, and then and as any parent knows, like, your life's not yours once the kids arrive. Like, you try, but it's really not yours once the kids arrive.
No.
You're there for the
No.
kids most of the time.
Yep.
And it's a balance, but you're right. So a lot does fall on those mums. But then when mum's starting to break, it falls back on dad, who's the rider. So,
Mhm.
and I'm sure
Yep.
there's so many instances of that we don't hear about. You might hear about it, but
I hope I do. I hope
if
I do.
you're
If you
if you're
you
yeah.
know, like, come my way. Come on. If you know someone, or,
Mm.
you got a moto wife in the industry, like, come chat. We've got a few we're working on right now. But yeah, I think that parents in the industry, like at the pro level, I mean, at the amateur level, that again, that's a whole other topic we could go down. Moto moms. That the amateur world, like, blows my mind.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is just insane. American amateur moto is like, I don't even have words for it. Like, it's not even a different sport, it's like a different planet. Like, it's so gnarly. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't think the parents get enough credit for it, because I mean, when we think of parents, like, we think of Big James, or we think
Mm.
of like Colleen Millsaps, or like, they're very polarizing people in the sport,
Yeah,
the parents of the riders. But it's like,
yeah,
now those riders that we love are parents.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm just like, I want to
It's
know. I want
never
to know
and it's never been
everything.
like that ever before. This is all
Yeah.
new. This is a
And
new era.
I love it, because I'm
Yeah,
like, they're
yeah.
my age. Like, these are my peers. Like, I'm going through it just like they are. I mean,
Mm.
I wrote about it for one of our episodes. But when JB won Daytona, like, his son and my son are like days apart, and I remember like crying. I was probably also like a mess from postpartum depression too, but I remember sobbing, like, watching Paige watch Justin win Daytona, and knowing that, we both have like 9 months old or however. And I was just like, this is incredible. Like, that's the human part of it that I'm just like, this sport has my heart, like, in a vice
Mm.
that night.
I'm
So
just thinking
cool
there's probably
stuff.
a good business opportunity for someone to start like a Supercross crash, like, in the pits where
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
just drop them off here and have a break, like, just drop them
Yeah.
off there, yeah, have a sand,
Yeah.
well, you set up a sand pit, toy bike,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, and let the mums have a break from all these
I'd be
babies.
happy to. I'm like, would
That's
you like to
something
hire me
that
to come hang out with them?
no, the old get some babysitting happening
Yeah.
at the Supercross. Yeah,
I'd be
that'd
happy
be
to.
that'd be the go. And then, speaking of women, I want to talk a little bit about WMX.
Yeah. Let's do it.
WMX is something that I always thought it was really cool. And I know on this show, I said about getting some lady riders on the show, and I had a few. I had JP Money and Sophie Phelps and a few different girls on, and it was some pretty cool episodes. And I also, my daughter rides, and I'm a girl dad, and I've always thought that it was cool when in any sort of sports when the girls are getting in and having a crack, and doing what the boys
Yeah.
can do, beat the boys. I remember when Ali was learning to swim, she was the only girl in the group, and I'd always be like, beat the boys, go out there and beat the boys,
Get
when
him.
they do their lap of the pool, and that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And she'd tell me that she beat the boys and all that. And so yeah, I kind of just like that. And then I had the chance this year to cover the Oceania Cup, where the
It was so
cover
cool.
the US girls team come out, and met those girls and their families and all that, and it was just a cool story. And I got to know Christina and Chris, that are really driving force behind what's happening in the
Hmm.
States and all that sort of thing. And so it was really cool. So amongst all that, I've taken a real interest in it. And then also we have Charlie Cannon, who's been
She's
the
a
talk
badass.
been the talk of the Aussie WMX scene for several years now, and it's good to see what she's up to. So I really like it. And then besides that I know some people and all that sort of thing. The racing's friggin' awesome, and I've seen that
Yeah.
in our strong WMX series in Australia. The racing is badass. Like those
I
girls,
love it.
like they take no prisoners. Like it is good
Hmm.
racing. It really is. So I'm all for it. I think there should be right up there, on the same sort of card as the boys. There is half or more than half, I guess. I think usually they say there's a lot more women in the
Hmm.
world than men. So more than half of the potential audience out there are ladies, and they love to see ladies race. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for it, and I know that you and your show are certainly all for it. So yeah, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. So I was not following WMX that closely as of late. So I was always a big fan of Ashley Filick, which is so funny now because like her and I will DM back and forth a little bit. And like I told her, I blew my husband out. I was like, my husband had such a crush on you. And I was like, I don't think he has a chance for a number of reasons. And so
I think
she's just been cool
everybody
as
had a
shit.
crush on Ashley. I think her,
She's so cool.
Ashley and Tara. Everyone had a
Yeah.
crush on her.
Yes. Oh, it's
Yeah,
so cool. So I guess I was just naive, like how small it had gotten.
Mm,
And really like it kind of made me mad when I looked into it this year when things were coming back. I mean, last year. Um, but have gotten to know a few of these families, the Turners, I'm big fans of,
mm,
Lachlan, Lala Turner, and honestly, like getting to watch like Moto KK Nielsen, like her and boyfriend Parker Russ, like
mm.
I love that. I'm like, I hope you whoop his ass more than not. So but seeing them at Thunder Valley, like because of the rain delays and things, and we got to see him on the broadcast and hearing like the feedback, like everybody was like, "This is so badass! Like, why
Mm,
can't we do this?" And I'm like, okay, I understand from the logistical standpoint, like it's extra crew to get there and blah blah blah. But I'm like, why can't we do it? Like, if the
mm,
people want it, and there's always going to be naysayers, but I'm like, why not? Like, it's the same thing. I feel like it's the same way with like the SMX Next or whatever we're calling futures now. Like,
mm,
there is a need for it. There are riders who want to race. There are people who want to watch it. There is money to be made. Why can't we do it? So I am here for it. I want to know these women. I want to know their families. I want to know their stories. I want to know how they got into it. I want to know how they deal with criticism and, literally lining up next to the boys sometimes, in the same motos, because
mm.
oftentimes at a lot of these races, like they don't even have their own class. So they're just
Yeah,
racing with the boys, which I
yeah,
love. I really
yeah,
do love that.
yeah. I love it. I reckon it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think
yeah.
it's really neat. And actually tomorrow, in a couple hours, but I'm flying to club to hang out with the Turner family. So spending a couple days at Club MX with Nicole Turner and who is the mama of Lux and Lala and Landry Turner. And God, just such a good family. And I just think it's so cool, like to have two pro riders, like one in the men's class and one in the women's class. just doing their thing and loving dirt bikes. And they're a really tight core family unit. And I just think, like, why the hell not? Like give them a platform. Like what do we need to do? And I know Christina, this is the banner she's running with. So whatever little small piece of that I can help champion, like, I'm here for it, because those girls are badass and I want to see them more. Straight up. It's selfish. I just want to see them race more. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And I can't wait to see I can't wait to see him race the last 3 rounds of the series and see what happens. Like, it's exciting. We all know, like, Charlie did the first 3 with an injury, and so she's going to
Oh,
be
that
better.
finger.
And then it'll be like, can she challenge Lala on home turf? Because, like, Charlie got the best of her in Australia, and it's all there's storylines there. And then, but that next sort of bunch of 5 or 6 girls, they're also awesome as well. Like, Jamie's up winning the Canadian series right now, so she's going to come in with some good form. And KK's winning every off-road event she enters, and
yeah.
so, yeah,
she's so badass. Like,
it was really, really cool meeting them all, and their families and that sort of thing, and they're all sort of very different personalities and that sort of thing. And it was really cool. And the Turners are cool. Like, I didn't meet Mum. Dustin was in Australia with Lala, so it was just her and Dad. And he's a cool dude. Yeah, that was good. But I'm all for it. I think that I guess everything comes to money. It's a business. It's a business running these series. But I think the play for WMX is a bit of a long game. It's a long game. Like, they might not turn it into profit in year one, but I think if you look at long term, like, I've seen it firsthand, the amount of attention that WMX riders get in the pits at an Australian event, by compared to any other rider, is huge, because every little girl there wants to meet those girls. It's like this huge thing. Like, there's a girl racing, I want to meet her. The little girls coming up all the time, like, just inspired by it. Like, that's and like we said, that's like half the possible market for manufacturers to sell mini bikes to. Half the market is little girls who just seeing that, they know, I can do this too. I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
Super
I
cool.
will say, the one other intro to women's, it's not even WMX. She was trying to qualify for Supercross, was Vicky Golden. Raced Arlington one of the years. And God, if she hadn't been on the Suzuki, this moment would not be burned into my psyche. But I was over by her tent for some reason. I can't remember why, but there was, like, a little girl that was there, and she didn't know it was Vicky. And so Vicky, like, took off her helmet, and, and her ponytail came out or whatever. And I remember this girl was like, "That's so cool." And so I was watching this little girl, and then Vicky, like, had to go back out. So she puts the helmet back on, and because she's on a Suzuki, she can't kick it over. And her mechanic had to kick it for her. And
no.
And the dad said to the little girl, he was like, "Well, that's advancing women's motocross right there." Like, all sarcastic. I wanted to bitch slap this man. Like, that Vicky Golden is sitting out here trying to qualify in the men's, no women's, like, just straight up. And, like, she was not that far off the pace. Like, I went in, like, I think she was in B class. I don't think she was in
eventually qualified for one, didn't she? I'm sure she qualified for one eventually.
Did she? I don't know. She definitely didn't qualify that night, but she was not that far off the pace. But, like, that little girl that was watching, that didn't know that was a woman until she took her helmet off. She's like, "Well, that's a woman." And then that dad, or I'm assuming it was dad, maybe it was Big Brother. Either way, what a dumbass. Like, I just wanted to bitch slap him so bad. But I was like, also, it's a Suzuki, so give her some credit.
That's right. Yeah. It is because I remember. I have to look that up. I remember talking to. I did a show with Jordan Jarvis as well, and Jordan was down in Australia. And she qualified for a night show, and I think she said that she was the second one to ever do it.
It's got to be Vicky. It's got to be.
And I think Vicky must have got there. I reckon that was the case. But I'm all for it. And then we've got some other fast girls in Australia that are sort of, and they're now thinking like, maybe, I'd like to get and do some American rounds and that sort of thing, like,
I love
um,
it.
so,
Come on over.
it's cool. And then I follow the MXGP, and the women's racing over there is pretty good, like, especially like Courtney Duncan. She's kind of, she's been injured and that sort of thing. She's probably getting to the tail of her career, but damn, like, she was unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable, at
Yeah.
her peak. So it's a shame, she would have been amazing to see in this series in the States. But all those top girls, Lottie and all that, it's really cool in the WMX. So get some of them over to America, because they might make some money in America. So
Yeah. Yeah.
because they're not, I know some of the Aussie girls have tried to do the thing in Europe, and some of the US girls have tried to do the thing in Europe, and they've been over there, but they can't make money, or they can't even break even doing it unless
Yeah.
they're winning every race or podium every race. They can't even break even to do the travel around Europe. So
Yeah.
whereas America, they're likely to get just a lot more support in
Yeah.
there, at least a lot more support in what it costs, and then they
Yeah.
have the opportunity to earn some money. So not just lose money. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. I reckon it's fantastic. So yeah, absolutely. Did you hear Sophie Phelps on Pulp?
I did. I was
Yeah,
I was excited about that. She's so well spoken. Like
yeah,
she's one of those people I'm just like, yes, she get like
yeah,
she's one of those people like Adam Cianciarillo where I'm like, I just want to hear what they have to say
yeah.
because it sounds so smart. Like so that's why I was like, oh, she's a good interviewer. So yeah,
Yeah,
she's a
yeah.
good one.
She's one of my favorite episodes of this show I've ever done. I reckon it was
Yeah.
just great to talk to, and so freaking smart and insightful and all that sort of thing, and super open and honest and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's got huge future, huge future. She's going to be like, in whatever she wants to do around the sport, whether it's media or whatever. Huge
Yeah.
future for that girl, and yeah, absolutely all for it, all for it.
Yeah. We need more females in the media space for sure. So I'm like, come on over, girl. Let's chat. We
That's
need
right.
more. We need more
She
girls on
might
the microphones.
be the next Haley Shanley, maybe.
Oh my gosh. We
That's
know
what
how
I'm
much I
thinking.
love Haley Shanley.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
Haley
yeah. No,
Shanley fan club.
she is. She's awesome. Like yeah. The more I hear about her, the more I like her. Like, she's great at the job, but then
Mhm.
she rides, and she's like, she's cool.
Yeah.
She's not a career reporter that happened to
Yeah.
do motocross. She's a motocross girl that's
Yeah.
also a reporter. Like, it's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, big
She
fan of her.
she posted a picture of her lock screen like on her phone and it was a comment that I left on one of her Instagram posts that said like you make us women so proud. And she made that her lock screen and I was like, I love that. Like that
Yeah,
not for me but for her like that meant that much for her. I mean it's funny it's kind of how I met Michaela from Michaela on the bike is just like being nice on the internet but like being a woman in moto is not easy. Like I can't imagine the amount of like shit she gets. And so
mm,
I was happy to like be a part of just like building her up because we are lucky to have her. I mean, we've got a number of women right now. I like Will, I like Taryn over bless Taryn. She wasn't here this weekend. We got to have Anton a little bit, but I think we've got some really good, female voices on the microphones in moto right now. So we're coming for you. We're not in the booth yet, but TBD.
yeah. There's no reason why they can't. Yeah, no reason. No reason why they can't.
The industry might explode, but
Well, Haley's done work in the booth for snow. What's her other thing? Snowcross.
snowcross, yeah,
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 yeah. She's an in the booth girl for Snowcross.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah. She's legit. I
so
mean, like
she's
Kristen,
all
she did
across it.
all of X Games, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's gnarly.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, I might just move on to just a couple of my
Yeah,
fun questions. A lot of the topics we've covered, we could do a whole show on each of them, I reckon, or we
we
know we
could.
could. But some fun stuff. So picked out a couple of fun questions. One album. What's your one album? So you get one album to listen to the rest of your life. Or, I always ask people
Oh
about
my god.
music. What's that?
Oh my gosh, one album. Oh, that's hard. I know this is so cliche, but I'll tell you what, like when I think about listening to an album cover to cover the way it's meant to, like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is just like I don't know that it gets much better. And I think like I remember listening to that whole album like when you play it with Wizard of Oz and just like the magic of listening to music, long form music in its entirety. Like that's lost on our generation. Where my generation is like the Spotify generation. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It would have to be like, yeah, something like Pink Floyd or Night at the Opera, like Queen. I'm a diehard Queen fan, so I
Yeah,
was
I
trying to
know
pick like
this. Yeah, yeah.
one of the Queen albums, and I'm like, I don't know that I could pick just one.
You can pick a best
Um,
of. You can pick a best of if you want. So you can
yeah, I mean, my
a
all-time favorite
greatest
song.
hits.
Yeah, yeah, my all-time favorite song is "Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy" by Queen. Like, so I that would be up there for sure. Queen or Pink Floyd, for sure. Yeah,
Nice,
good
nice.
question.
What about what? Just while we're on music, my other music question that I've been asking is if you could time travel to a concert, any concert in
Oh,
the past,
got
2
it.
years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. Where are you going? I reckon I know the answer, but yeah,
Wait, before I say it, I feel well. It could be one of two. Either no, we'll say it. So the quintessential Queen concert is live at Wembley Stadium,
yeah, yeah,
or no, we'll go with that. Yeah, I mean Freddie just is in command of
yeah,
the
yeah,
stadium. Like it is incredible. I get chills watching it. Like I've got it on DVD. Like I just yeah, he's incredible. He's an incredible entertainer. He's an incredible vocalist. That I just he's a magician. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that one. That was before my time, and I feel like I was there. So yeah,
Yeah,
Wembley would be it.
I was a little kid when I can remember all the Live Aid stuff. I can remember all that
Hmm.
going on and seeing it on
Yeah,
TV, and probably watched that concert on TV as a little kid,
the
maybe.
arm
But yeah, but
the
I
arm
don't
cuff.
sort of yeah. But I was 9, so I would have just been like, yeah, this is all cool. Would have just listened
Yeah,
to whatever my sisters were listening to or whatever, you know. I wasn't really
yeah.
didn't know my music taste yet, but yeah, that is cool. I thought you'd choose that. That would be the most popular answer whenever I ask that question. And I don't just ask it on this show. I ask these weird questions that I
Yeah,
ask at the end of this show. I ask just people that randomly in life. Like I'm just that guy. Like, hey, what do you think about this? What
yeah.
would you do in this? Like that's where all this comes from. It's just my
No, I love it.
me on this show is exactly the same as me any other time. You know, so that's I ask weird questions to people. And yeah, Queen Wembley is the most common answer to that.
I mean, it's iconic. I don't even feel like that's a
Yeah,
concert. Like I feel like that was like a communal like experience, like the people that were there, like you were on another
yeah,
planet for, that time. So
yeah, yeah.
very good.
It's above just a concert. It's a cultural moment of that century sort of thing. It's like
Yeah.
right up there, isn't it? You know, like
Yeah.
if you
Mm.
were to me, maybe I just like Freddie too much, but to me, if you were to put together, a time capsule of that century, all the huge moments in that century,
Mhm.
that you're gonna have a picture of that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
With the one-handed with the
yeah,
microphone up
yeah.
in the air. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's gonna be when you put together the music section for that time capsule, you're gonna have probably something of Elvis, something of the Beatles, and you're gonna have Freddie at Wembley, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I saw oh, what year was that? I was trying to think. We saw it at AT&T Stadium. It was Paul McCartney, anyhow, and it's funny, at AT&T, like we all joke about it, Jerry's World. I found myself there's a Beatle in front of me, and I still found myself watching that stupid gigantic screen. Like I had to be like, look at Sir Paul, not the screen, So that was a
yeah.
pretty magical experience. I did like he played Blackbird, which is one of my favorites, and I just like sobbed through that. And I just music is magic. I think about my very first concert. It was you didn't ask, so I'm gonna tell you. My very first concert. I don't know why my parents allowed this. Was Drowning Pool. Do you know what Drowning Pool is?
I
Like
don't know,
let the
no.
bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. I was 13 at like an underground like metal club. That was my very first show. And it's all downhill from there. But it's a great unifier.
Yeah. My music knowledge is really poor after about 2000, my knowledge is really poor. It's pretty very good before that, but yeah, I don't know. I just got to a stage where I just like I know what I like, and I just
Yeah.
stick to it. And that's like in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. Like I joke, like my daughter had a party, her 18th birthday party, and there's all these 18ths going on in our lives now. Kids, friend, all these, friends,
Yeah.
kids, friend, her friends, all that. And there's themed parties and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, I'm just waiting to get invited to a 90s party because I'll just wear exactly what I still wear. And I'll just turn up. Like, I still wear the same clothes I wore in the 90s. Like,
I'm so here for it.
exactly the same. I was rocking
That's so
fannies and
funny.
beanies and boots in the 90s, and I'm still doing it with band t-shirts. Like,
Well,
exactly.
now you're fashionable. Now it's on.
Let's
Now
come
people
back.
think it's on purpose.
I've worn t-shirts that are old t-shirts that I've still got into just wherever, and had young people go, dude, like, I'd be like, dude, retro, vintage, man. Where'd you get that shirt? And I was like, oh, I bought it at such and such in like 1995. Why? What is it?
Oh my gosh.
As I've still got the damn thing. So yeah.
Goodness. That's like the kids with the Carhartts. Like, is that a thing? Like where the teenagers like the work Carhartts in Australia? That's a thing in the States.
I've seen the jokes from the States, but it's not a thing here. But I reckon there's probably similar things where there's been different things where like workwear brands have become cool for like city people to wear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
weird.
it's become cool. Like we've had at different times, like the iconic Aussie boots are Blundstone boots, right? They're a leather work boot made in Tasmania. We all grew up wearing them, working in them, and that sort of thing. And yeah, there's been a few times where they've suddenly become trendy, and dudes are wearing them like polished up versions with their suits and with their, or not even with suits, with just like their city vibe sort of clothes. They'll be wearing polished up things, and you get something that it's kind of like that funny thing where it reminds me of like you get people in Australia, they live in a city, they camp twice a year, but they'll have this blinged out four-wheel drive with every fucking accessory you can imagine. Like they could survive the outback for 2 years, with the way this thing's set up, and they're driving it around these rich suburbs. That's the guys that'd be wearing the workwear, when they're at the golf club or something. I do get that sort of stuff. Like, they're just trying. There was even I don't know if it's true, but I remember hearing that there was some dude who was spraying, had a thing to spray like mud on four-wheel drives for people in the city, so they looked like they'd been out. They looked like they were, so it looked apart. I don't know if it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if that was true, but it wouldn't surprise me because it's like these. Spray mud up the side. So I've been out the bush on the weekend. I'm like, I'm pretty hard and all that sort of stuff. Whereas like people who are actually at the bush, you're dodging the mud holes because I don't want to have to wash the damn thing that much.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want that shit on it. Like,
the real reels, we know.
Yeah, that's it. And then another fun question, or just a general question. I don't roll this one out too much, but what's your best bit of life advice? Just general life advice. And you take it wherever you want. So you can take it, go like as a lady, as a mom, just as a person.
Man, that's a good one.
Do you have like I have a few go-tos of life advice. What's yours?
It's so funny. Like when I think about like things that have been said in my family. So my grandmother, she passed away a number of years ago, but she was from New Orleans. Like she was from like the deep South Louisiana. And she would always say, bloom where you're planted. So I like that, bloom where you're planted. That's always been one. I've got it painted on a number of things here. And, but really, I mean, the biggest piece of advice, I even say this to like some of my younger employees, is like, never stop learning. I mean, we know that that's a cliche. Never stop learning, but never stop reading. Like, I don't care what you read. Like when Jet went on the JB and AC show, which I always have to say this whenever I talk about the show, why they didn't call it the 9 and 10 show is beyond me. But no, we're going to call it ABCDEFG show.
Marketing brain is not happy with
You're
that.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
But when Jet said he starts every day reading, I was like, oh, it's on. Like everybody's going to show up to the starting gate with a freaking novel and just crack that book open. But if you're not constantly like learning about other people or learning about something else or stretching your brain or like, there's no growth. Like there's only so much that you can learn in your everyday life, but like books are going to give you everything. I mean, so in front of me, what you can't, I have two huge bookcases. And they're like my trophies. They're my portals to other worlds. They're my answers when I don't have them. They're my feelings when I don't have them. I like reading poetry. And so I lost that a lot when I had kids, when I first had my first son. And then my husband bought me like a Kindle, like the little digital reader when he was a couple years old, and I fell back in love with reading. And I honestly, like, I think between that and my time in inpatient treatment or in outpatient treatment, it really like it helped bring me back to life because yeah, if we don't read about other people and we're not traveling to other places and we're not expanding our friend group, like books can do that. They're the next best thing. So just pick up a book. Like just read a book. That's my life advice.
Cool. What's your favorite book you've ever read?
Golly. Now I'm looking at like everything on my shelves and I'm like, man, I don't know. It's a good like one book. I don't know. I could say this. My husband calls it fairy porn. Calls it, or fairy smut. But there's an author that writes about like fantasy fiction, and any of the fantasy girlies or any of the book talk girlies will know this. But she writes kind of the big, colorful, thick spine books. But she wrote a series called Throne of Glass, and there's a female heroine, and kind of it's basically all like written from a female's perspective. And I've got friends now who have daughters who are just now getting into like fantasy fiction, and like that series is one that like I read it at least once a year. It's like it's probably 6,000 pages in all, like if you stack them all end to end. And it's just one of those books that I'm just like, fuck yeah, I love being a woman. Like, so Throne of Glass would probably be my favorite series. But favorite book, I'd have to marinate on that alone. That's a hard one. I'm like, nonfiction, like what? So Throne of Glass is a good one.
Well, I'm not sure in my adult life if I've ever read fiction. I don't think I have.
So good.
Yeah,
it's a good like palate cleanser for your brain.
Yeah. I love more than anything. I love stories of people. I love autobiographies and biographies.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, or short stories about events and things like that. So yeah, I've never really gotten into fiction, but yeah, my favorite of all time is it's the autobiography by Keith Richards, and it's just called Life. That's my favorite.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
It's a very, very easy to choice of that's my favorite. Yeah, it's actually influenced my writing a lot. That book.
Yeah.
The way
whenever we hire, oh god,
it's very much written as he says it, and that's
I love that.
very much how I write is as I talk.
Yeah. Have you read? If you have not, you should read Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights. But don't listen to it. So he reads the audiobook version of it, and it's so good because it's in his, I mean, literally it's in his voice, but it's the same way. Like he writes like he speaks. And it's funny you say that it's influenced the way you write, because whenever I hire a writer or like a content strategist, the first thing I ask them in the interview is like, what are you reading right now? And if they fumble, if they're like, oh, I'm not reading anything, or I'm only reading nonfiction, I'm like, no, we got to have a chat. Like, to be a good writer, you got to be a good reader. So I think fiction is good for the brain.
Yeah. I'll have to give it a shot. I know, a lot of like family and friends in that do read fiction, but I think I just gravitate to. I love the stories of people, particularly it's usually sportsmen or rock stars. That's I love that. Like I just read Duff McKagan's autobiography. And that was just awesome. Like, just awesome. Like, you think, oh, another rock star thing and all that, but like, it's not nothing to do with. Well, it is. It's not just the rock star; it's the person behind it, and overcoming addiction and all
Mm-hmm.
this sort of life stuff that I find super interesting. So yeah. But yeah, love to read. Don't get time to do enough of it, but I get right into audiobooks. I'm a big audiobook guy, but yeah, actually
Mm-hmm.
turning the pages, that doesn't happen too often. So yeah,
I understand. I do. That's why I
yeah,
carry my Kindle with me everywhere. So it's the only way I get it.
that's it. All right, we better wrap it up. I've kept you a
Let's do
long
it.
time. Always end the show with all the US guests. You got to give me your best Aussie accent.
Oh gosh, that's embarrassing. Do you know what's funny? My first thought was saying the C word, but I still can't. I still can't say
Still can't
it. I can't do the see you next Tuesday. What do you got? I can't say the quintessential, throw a shrimp on the Barbie. What do I got to say?
um,
I feel like it's very mouthy. It's a all right, all right. Do you see
I'm just
can
trying.
you see my mouth expanding as I'm doing
Yeah.
all right?
I'm trying to think of another. Here's an Aussie classic that US listeners won't get, but just give us a tell him he's dreaming. Tell him he's dreaming.
You dream it. That was terrible. I can't even. I'll tell you this one. This is one my kids think is hilarious. My kids wanted. I was told you I was going to record you saying this. My kids will go Arnar, Arnar, and they just yell it throughout the house. Arnar.
Yeah,
And then my husband will go, "That's not a knife. This is a knife." So they have those burned into their brains.
yeah. That's the other one. Yeah, yeah. The most of that was both the most common ones. Both come from Paul Hogan. So yeah.
I know. He's just ruined you guys for us. But hey, I've
Yeah.
told you and I've told our buddy Nick Still that you guys are the only ones I can't listen to a podcast on double speed. I got to slow it down to regular speed. I'm soaking it all in at normal speed.
Yeah, the good thing about Hogs is he's the genuine article. Like he's not
Yeah.
he's not a he's not an actor that became a full sort of Aussie stereotype. He was the Aussie stereotype that became an actor.
I
So
love it.
he was as you guys would say, he was a construction worker. I think he was a bricklayer.
Yeah.
And he all that that was him, and he was really funny. He'd tell jokes and that sort of thing. And he one of the very, very early days of talent shows, like 30 years before Australian Idol and American Idol and all that, there was a show, I think it was called New Faces or something like that, where it was a talent show and you'd go on and you'd sing or dance or tell jokes or whatever. And he got talked into going on that show. And he went on there in his tradie outfit, and he's like his footy socks and his short shorts and his cut off sleeve shirt and all that, like he was known as, and just told a heap of jokes, and he was really fucking funny.
That's awesome.
And the next minute he's a comedian, and then the next minute he's got a comedy show. He had a comedy show. I forget what it was called. It might have just been something simple like Paul Hogan show or something. He had a comedy show where he'd do sketches, just pretty much just being himself and just being funny in that. And then from that he got doing advertising and stuff, and then he got cast in Crocodile Dundee, and boom.
The rest is history.
Honestly, in that Crocodile Dundee, he didn't have to act much. That was like,
That's awesome. That makes me like it even more.
he wasn't really laying it on. The outfit was laying it on and all that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Of course,
The crocodile teeth and
but
all that.
otherwise, like it's you hear an interview with him, just he's kind of just like that, He's your fair dinkum Aussie, as we would say.
Oh, I love it. That's so funny. Well, we're gonna need to watch it with my kids because they have no context for it at all. They're just like, oh, it's some weird thing that dad says in an accent.
Yeah. Also, I remember going to see Crocodile Dundee we didn't have any cinema here, but it was such a big deal that they put it on at the town hall here. We're in this little town where I live. They put it on at the town hall, and all the kids went to watch Crocodile Dundee. That's how much of a big deal it was for Australia. It was like this huge thing, and the huge, because they're an Australian movie to go sort of globally massively huge like that was probably the first one that ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't. I don't know. I don't think it was shot in Australia, obviously. in parts, but I don't know if it was Australian made or it was a collaboration or whatever. But yeah, it was sort of thought of as an Aussie movie that made it huge, and certainly Aussie
Yeah.
actor. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, let's rock into a bit of Kenny Rogers. Ali knows
Oh yeah.
knows this is how we close the show, and she
Gotta pull up
knows
the lyrics.
she knows there's no you don't have to sing along, but it's always fun when you do. So when you're ready, she's got the lyrics and everything.
Let's
So
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
right.
In
So I handed him my bottle,
my bottle.
and he drank down
Drank
my
down
last
my
swallow.
last swallow.
Then he bummed a
Bummed a
cigarette
cigarette.
and asked me
Asked
for a
me
light,
for a light.
and the night got
And the night
deathly
got
quiet,
deathly quiet.
and his face
And his
lost
face
all
lost all
expression.
expression.
Said, if you're
Said, if
gonna
you're gonna
play the
play the
game,
game,
boy,
boy,
you gotta
you're
learn
gonna
to
learn
play
to
it
play it
right.
right.
You got to know
I know
when to hold
when
'em,
you hold 'em.
know when to
Know
fold
when to
'em,
fold 'em.
know when to
Know
walk
when to walk
away,
away.
know
Know
when to
when to
run.
run.
You never count your
Count
money.
your money.
When you're
When
sitting
you're
at the
sitting at the
table,
table.
there'll be time
Be
enough for
time enough
counting.
for counting. When the dealing's done.
That's it.
You left me
That's right.
hanging.
Good job. Good job. It's always
That's so
they're
fun.
always the goal to get people to sing along. So thanks for that. That's good fun. And thanks for your
Yeah.
time today. Good luck with your trip to hang out with the Turners.
Thanks. Yeah.
That'll be good. And good luck with your the rest of Real Housewives of Moto. Oh, and one thing I just forgot, which I've got to
Yeah.
add in.
Whoa.
Thank
I don't know
you.
what that was.
Thank you to you. So my new project Rido Moto, which is very much Australian based content from the Ozpro MX series, and little videos and little podcasts coming out of that. It's a new little brand that sort of runs alongside the Outside Gate Rido Moto, and you were the one that came up with that name. So thank you very much for that. It's been
all
well
you, man.
received. It's been well received. It fits perfectly because Rido is something that I really do say a lot naturally, and it fits well, and it's been well received. Like it seems to your marketing brain is in gear there because people are already sort of remembering it and saying it back to me. So yeah,
I love it.
It's
That
cool.
and that logo, our buddy Kurt,
Our buddy
killing it
Kurt
with the logo
Evans,
game.
yep, Down Up Designs.
Yeah.
He's the same
Great
kangaroo
one.
logo that he did for the Outside Gate. He's done a green and gold sort of version of that and hand drawn the Rido Moto logo and all that for that show. So I guess if you haven't checked out that, check it out. Rido Moto on YouTube. And then there's also Rido Moto Show on Spotify. Both very, very new. And particularly if you're an Australian listener, if you're a US listener, by all means, have a look. You might not know these riders and that sort of thing, but there's some good personalities in there that you might want to get to know because that's
I've enjoyed them.
That's kind of the
good.
thing is getting some fun personalities out of some different riders and people in the Aussie pits. But thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, your rest of your night.
Time to go night now. Yeah, got to catch an early flight, so it's night time.
All right. Cheers. Thanks.
Yep. Have a good one.